What's up, everybody? This is the Tech Diagram Show, and today we have Nokia 6 to review. And I have owned this phone for last 2 years, so I'm going to give you a review on the pros and cons of buying this phone in 2020. So this phone is about 3 years old. It was announced in 2017, January 19th. So, and I bought this, I think, on 2018, January beginning, at the beginning part. But it is mostly like 2 years old now, and it has gone through a lot, as you can see. Of course, it has gone through basically what is termed as hell, but it's still fine working. Still works perfectly fine. Everything in this phone works absolutely fine. Let's talk about the RAM. So it has 3 gigs of RAM with 32 GB storage, or you can upgrade to the better version, which has about 4 gigs of RAM with 64 gigs of storage. This one is 3 gigs of RAM, 32 GB storage, the base model, and is quite an old phone. It uses Android 7.7, I think, and Nougat 7.1 Nougat, and it is upgradable till Android 9. So I've updated this till Android 9, and it is a pretty stock Android experience as far as software is concerned. It's just absolutely fine. It has a 5.5 inch 1080 by 1920 display. It is a Full HD display. This is no AMOLED display, but this is an LCD panel over here. But it is a quite nicer display. It's quite nice display. Not AMOLED, not as AMOLED or that stuff, but LCD just works fine. It is 9.9 mm thick. I mean 7.9 mm thick. So it's pretty slim. As you can see, it's not a thick phone. I mean, there are thick phones out there, thicker than this, of course. It has 16 megapixel camera, 1080p. Shoots 1080p, 16 megapixel camera. In my opinion, it's a great camera. It's a great camera in about this price range. It has 3000 mAh battery. Now that's a con over here. It has a 3000 mAh battery. That's considered less in today's market. Like, everybody has at least 3500 or 4000, mostly 4500 mAh batteries, but this one has a 3000 mAh battery. Let's talk about the processor over here. We have Qualcomm Snapdragon 430 20 nanometers processor, octa-core, 1.4 GHz Cortex A53. It has Arduino 545 as the GPU. So that's a great thing. Snapdragon 435, as concerned, is not a flagship level processor. Of course, it's not a great processor, but it does the job, gets the job done pretty well. It could have been Snapdragon 665 maybe, but nevertheless. So it has Gorilla Glass 3 on the front. It has Gorilla Glass 3 in the front. By the way, this is not Gorilla Glass 3. This is the broken one. This is not actually Gorilla Glass. I have replaced my original Gorilla Glass with this cheap one because the LCD was fluctuating, so I had to replace the whole thing, and it turned out to be a cheap glass, just a glass replacement, not a Gorilla Glass. So Gorilla Glass generally doesn't break. This one held up pretty well. Like, it has dropped like 50 times. I mean, that's a lot with it. The front facing camera is an 8 megapixel f 2.0. It also records 1080p 1080p resolution videos at 30 frames per second. It has a 3.5 headphone jack over at the top, as you can see. It has a 3.5 headphone jack. At the bottom we can see USB-C. Now this is a con for some people. Some people always go for Type-C, but it is not provided over here. It has dual speakers, stereo speakers, down at the bottom and at the front. So we have dual SD card support, dual SIM support. Micro SD card is also supported. Up to 128 gigs of storage can be expanded. Talk time over here, we get out of 3000 mAh battery, we get about 18 hours of talk time. Music play up to 22 hours on full charge. Standby 768 hours, and it charges by a 10-watt charger. Now that's a downside again for many people. Many people opt for like 18-watt chargers, but sadly it's not available over here. It comes with some colors, like this is silver. It comes in copper, tempered blue, matte black, and art black. So those are the colors. Price starts around 13,999 in current market. So it's placed between a lot of competitive phones at the Indian market. It compares with the Poco X2. It rivals with the Samsung A10, A30, A30s, and those sort of phones. Performance-wise, Geekbench as Geekbench is concerned, it is 2,841. GFX bench is 2.5 FPS on screen. Contrast ratio is 13,030 nominal and 3,238 sunlight. So let's talk about the loudspeaker over here. We have 63 decibel loudness, like measured in loudness, the loudness of the speaker. And yeah, that's it. That's about it in the specs, I think. Now let's talk about how this phone is built in the first place. This phone is built like, this is the best, most well-built phone I've ever held in my hand. Like, I've owned iPhones in the past, but this is just amazing. This metal body at the back just absorbs all those drops that might happen in the lifetime of this phone. It's just a tank. It's like impossible to break this phone. It's just a tough phone. Tough phone. I just can't believe how tough this phone is. This phone has been purposely thrown many times. Yeah, it has been thrown many times, but it held up until this fake Gorilla Glass was put on to this phone. It has a fingerprint scanner at the bottom, as you can see. It's broken apparently because of the drops, but until then it was a pretty fine phone, up to date with a fingerprint scanner. But this is broken, so I've installed this application called what is it called? It is called Assistive Touch. Yes, so I've installed this application called Assistive Touch.